Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Oh, Premanandi. Oh, glorious to the assembled devotees. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Shri Radha Govinda Madhava ki, Shri Balaram Rasayatra ki, Shri Krishna Vasant Rasayatra ki, Shri Shyamananda Pandit Avirbhav Mahamahotsav ki, Shri Vamsi Vadhan Avirbhav Mahamahotsav ki jai. The appearance of Radhakund at New Mayapur ki jai. I don't know either. It's the only calendar in the whole world where you find that. In ISKCON. Outside of ISKCON you'll find it. In some places. Today. Yeah. There are Vedic statements, I discussed it this morning. There are Vedic statements, I didn't bring them with me because I didn't even know that was on the calendar. So it wasn't intended to me. But I have read Vedic statements stating it's on this occasion, on this Purnim. From, I'm not sure which scripture it was from, but some Vedas, some Puranas. Yeah. However, we know that Gaudiya Vaishnavas celebrate Radhakund's appearance day on Bahulashtami. Now, we might need a translation for Mataji in Indulekha, but I won't have time to stop-start how to do it. If I have to stop and start, we won't get very far. And it's not an easy subject to stop-start.
Well, I can start doing it, but I'll stop at some point because I just can't do it.
I understand. It's not easy unless you're familiar with doing it.
I can do it, but I have to do it at the same time.
Yeah, but is that realistic? You're making ghee wicks or garlands or both things? I don't know what you're doing there. Garlands. It would be difficult. Is Indulekha here? Yeah. Maybe Indulekha can help you to make the garlands. Or it's more complicated, yeah. Then you have to explain to her, translate and make garlands. Whew. Maybe your husband can translate. He's not giving a lecture. He's becoming proficient in French. It's also today is the appearance of Hanumanji on this, apparently. So it's a very special day on our calendar to remember, even if it isn't the Gaudiya day for the appearance of Radhakund. Apparently Radhakund is manifesting in, I don't know the name of your new dham. Huh? Govardhan Echo? Echo House. Echo Village. Echo Dham. Govardhan, I should put that in one word, I don't know. Govardhan Echo House. Eco House. This evening, 7 o'clock? Let's see what Krishna's plans are. So today this morning, we discussed and read on the wonderful pastime of Balaram's Rasa Yatra from different scriptures, from commentaries of acharyas, of course from Krishna book, Bhagavatam, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Jiva Goswami, Sridhar Swami, Gopal Champu, all different places where this pastime is discussed from many angles. And this evening we plan to discuss the pastimes of Shyamananda Pandit, Shyamananda Prabhu. It's very sunny, isn't it? This time of the night the sun is very strong, blinding. So Shyamananda Pandit or Prabhu. And if we think that this morning there was no contradictions at all, there were just different additives in different scriptures to the pastime. But as far as Shyamananda Prabhu is concerned, there are many different descriptions of his, particularly we could say, of his relationship with Jiva Goswami and Hridaya Chaitanya, particularly, and beyond, if you want to call it that. Not so much about his birth, not so much about his preaching. That was pretty much uniform, thoroughly, but it was clearly obvious that there were different accounts. Now, why? One of the reasons is that there are different lines of disciplic succession coming down, and just like in our line of parampara, who is Pardon? Lord Brahma. Now, in our line you will find that there is Madhvacharya and his followers, direct followers. We are also in the line of Madhvacharya through Baladev Vidyabhushan and others. However, a term called Brahma, who knows this one? Brahma Vimohana Lila. That is not accepted by the followers of Madhvacharya, at least the present day followers. They don't accept it as authorized, or they don't accept it as it is. What are you going to be cooking something during the class tonight?
It's already made.
Is it? Okay, what is it?
It's grape juice.
What are you doing with the grape juice, the clock? It's an interesting combination. What is this?
Light bulb.
And a light bulb and a battery. This is very mystical. Okay, well, we will not ask further questions. But that's just one little example. So the followers of, for instance, I don't know if there's a line, but immediately followers of Hridaya Chaitanya, who was, well, you'll find out who he is, not the GBC of France, a different one. The disciple of Gauridas Pandit, who was associate of Lord Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu, will not necessarily have a same angle of vision as, say, the followers of Jiva Goswami or the followers of Shyamananda Prabhu. And that comes out clear. Not only that, but there are other factors involved in this pastime which are very transcendental, to the point where one's eternal constitutional relationship with Krishna becomes a major consideration in the different descriptions of what happened or what didn't happen. So I'm not going to go into perhaps all of the variations. I don't even know them, but I did glance at several variations of this pastime. But we'll stick with more or less the accepted aspect, with a few additives to emphasize the greatness of Shyamananda Prabhu. So let's see, where shall we start? Om Jnana Timarandasya Janandjana Shalakya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Upakadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagujatam Sagana Raganatan Vitang Tang Sujivam Sadvitam Savrutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivasesh Shrinivari Pastachari Shatani. Do you need a mat for your feet? I think it's a good idea. Maybe one or two. Just up to you. Are you sure? Okay. You like a mat for your feet? You sure? Everyone has what they need? Mats? So, there is a book, compilation. Some of you may have this book. It's not very common. You rarely see it now. It's called The Lives of Vaishnava Saints. It is written by a devotee named Satyaraj Prabhu, who is quite a prolific writer. His life is basically writing. He's written many, many books about Gaudiya Vaishnavism and Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And this is one of them, and this covers the life of Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, and Shyamananda Pandit. I didn't go through the exact references which he has taken here. I just looked at it before class. And he has taken a particular angle, which is like a pretty big picture of the whole incidents of his life. Others give summary, or they avoid it altogether, practically, certain aspects. So we will be touching on that a little bit, but we will not be reading from that. Rather, I'm going to read from a summary, which I don't even have the original reference. I've had this a long time. It may be Kirnash. I don't know if you ever remember Kirnash. He was a problem case, but he was very good at, let's say, unearthing histories of Vaishnavas. And he compiled a very extensive, I don't think it was ever published, manuscript on various Vaishnavas, which was used, and is used by many, in different ways to, Samadhi, the Vaishnav Samadhi book, or even in here, I'm sure much of it is gleaned from that research. So anyway, without any further ado, there seems to be very little differences of angles or moods, and you'll see this coming out in the pastime also, of devotees in different moods who see a same situation very differently. We also have that same experience in our daily lives. It's not that one is right and one is wrong. It's that their mood is different, so their experience is different. You go to a place, fantastic place. Someone else says, terrible place. Same place. Who's right? Who's wrong? Both right, both wrong, whichever way you look at it, right? Because they're just different. They have a different expectation, they have a different desire, they have a different nature, and so on. Different mood. That's also there on transcendence. The only difference there, everything is in relationship with Krishna. In this world, it's in relationship with ourselves. And we'll fight with each other over it. Fighting may also be there on the spiritual platform, but it's all with Krishna in the center to establish whatever. And that Krishna is a different consciousness, you could say. So on this we'll begin. Shyamananda appeared in Orissa. It's called Utkal. It used to be called Utkal. You see this word. Not exactly what we see today as Odisha, or called Odisha now, isn't it? Orissa. But more or less that area. In a small village. His father's name was Sri Krishna Mandal. His mother's name was Sri Durika. They were great devotees of Krishna. They had many children. They all left their bodies early. Eventually they had a son. Their mother was so distressed on losing all of her children, she gave the name, what name did she give her son? Who knows? Dukiya. What does Dukiya mean? You said that, didn't you? Bijoy? Pardon? Yeah. Dukkha means to suffer. One who brings distress. Although it's happiness, but she was feeling so much distress. Somehow or another, he got the name Dukiya. Probably not a very nice name to walk around with. But that was the name he got. But according to his birth signs, it was clear he was going to become he had all, you would say, auspicious signs. Clearly a great personality has appeared. And this little statement here, this is, again, this is a quotation, it is from a scripture somewhere. On the full moon day of the month of Chaitra, that's today, he has taken his birth at a very auspicious moment by the mercy of Lord Jagannath. It is as though Lord Jagannath has personally brought him here in order to propagate his teachings. And therefore, he is personally maintaining him. He looks just like a new Cupid. One's eyes and mind are soothed just to look upon him. Hare Krishna. Just looking at his form will bring happiness within, relief. It's true, when you look upon even materially, when you look upon somebody who looks very peaceful and blissful, it's a pleasant experience, you could say. As he grew a little bit, he was a great scholar. In every respect, he was a brilliant student. Like every mother and father, they hope their child will be a brilliant student, right? Right, Radharani? What to do? Of course, that's not the most important thing in life. But he was. Their study those days was mostly related to something related to Vedic study. Studying Sanskrit. They weren't studying, geography and engineering and computer technology and English literature and what have you. They were studying Vedic Sanskrit, Vedic grammar, Sanskrit grammar, maybe some Vedic histories, etc. But he quickly grasped it all. But when he heard about Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, his attention went undivided towards that subject. He was magnetically attracted. Couldn't take his heart away. We see this as quite a common event amongst the Lord's associates when they appear in this world. That at a certain point of time when they connect, or when that Lord reveals himself, then there, it's like Bhakti Vinod Thakur said, immediately upon hearing Chaitanya Charitamrita, he awoke his anubhav, his natural attraction, full attraction awoke towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Krishna Mandal, his father, when he became a certain age, thought, now my son must get initiated, but who will that be? Because he was a Vaishnava. He wanted his son to get initiated. He said to his son, I want you to be initiated. His son replied to him. Dukiya replied. And he said, Sri Chaitanya Hridaya Chaitanya is my guru. You never seen him? Maybe never heard of him. Sri Hridaya Chaitanya is my guru. He lives in Ambika Town, which is some distance from Mayapur, a long distance from where the boy lived. He lived in Orissa. There was no internet or social media to inform on these things. His transcendental statement. His guru is Sri Gauridas Pandit. The two brothers, Sri Gaur and Nityananda, are eternally present in his house. If you give your permission, I will proceed there to become his disciple. So Dukiya is asking, the boy is asking his father, he's a young boy at this time, for permission to go there, to take initiation. Of course, his father, how will you get there? I mean, it's a long way. You're a small boy. How will you go there? Many people are going that way. I will proceed with them when they go to the Ganga. Who convinced his father. So his father eventually agreed and gave him permission to go. So he set out, and he went first to Navadvip, to Shantipur. Then he came to Ambika Kalm. He inquired where is Hridaya Chaitanya's ashram. He went there, and outside the ashram he paid his obeisances to the ashram. And as he did that, Hridaya Chaitanya happened to be walking by and wondered, who is this effulgent young boy offering his obeisances here? And then he asked him, who are you? Dukiya replied, I have come to serve your lotus feet. My home is at Dhirendra Bahudurpur. It's in the town where he was born. I was born in the caste of Satgopas. My father's name is Sri Krishnamandal. My name is Dukiya. That's how you introduce yourself. He explained who he was. So Hridaya Chaitanya was very pleased. He's very sweet speech. So he said, from now on your name is? Pardon? Yeah. Well, in different places you see different things. He called him Krishnadas, according to this account. Yeah, you'll read different things in different places. That's why I mentioned at the beginning you were not here. There are many different. Some other places you see Sukhi instead of Duki. But normally it's Duki Krishnadas. Both names are there. So we'll stick with that one for now. And Hridaya Chaitanya said, I was having this feeling all day, somebody is going to come today, something special. So they met in that very wonderful way. So in due course of time, after some days, auspicious day, Hridaya Chaitanya chose a good time to officially initiate him by giving him the mantras, presumably kind of like Gayatri mantras and so on, which we receive initiation. And seeing that this Duki Krishnadas is such a wonderful student and such a wonderful disciple, he thought the best thing for him would be to go to Vrindavan. You want some tissues? Some tissues, I've got some. Oh, here they are. Let me take one out just in case something happens here. So he thought the best thing would be for him to study. At that time, you could say the most learned and scholar and proponent of Lord Chaitanya's philosophy and teacher in Vrindavan was Jiva Goswami. All the Vaishnavas were accepting him as the greatest authority. And already many were going to him for studying, for tutelage. And so Hridaya Chaitanya thought to send his disciple there to further his advancement in the spiritual life, so to speak. Now, one thing to remember here is that Hridaya Chaitanya and his spiritual master, Gauridas Pandit. Gauridas Pandit is, who knows who he is? The spiritual master of Hridaya Chaitanya, correct. But on let's say in Vraj Leela, Subal. Subal is in the mood of Sakya-ras. Coward boy, friendship, strong Sakya-ras. Huh? So the devotees in that line, well, Prabhupada writes that generally our acharyas are either in Sakya-ras or in Madhurya-ras. Huh? You don't find in our line Vatsalya-ras. It's there in the Vaishnava lines, the Vallabha Sampradaya, they're Vatsalya-ras. Or a kind of Vatsalya-ras. They worship baby Krishna, but it's related to Vatsalya-ras. Many people worship in that way. But in the case of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, I don't know, I can't think of any example of Vatsalya-ras. Maybe there is. I mean, other than the eternal associates, obviously. But he was in the mood of Sakya-ras. So Hridaya Chaitanya was strongly, he said he embedded 100% that mood. Completely in that mood. We were hearing the other day of Hanuman in Dasya-rasa. He's like the personification of Dasya-ras, practically speaking. So Hridaya Chaitanya was very much in that mood of Sakya. And he, in his case, cannot relate necessarily to the other rasas, particularly. They're like, no, it's like they're out of his range. It's like another race of some kind, another whatever. So he went to Vrindavan and he took shelter of Jiva Goswami. On the way, he visited Navadvip, went to the house of Jagannath Mishra. Of course, they'd passed away, but their Isham was still there, the servant was there. He took time there to associate. He went on through other places, and also even through Gaya, Varanasi, different places. Eventually he arrived in Vrindavan, and there, let's see, where should we go? Yes, he eventually, after passing through Mathura, Vishramghat, Adikeshava temple where Krishna appeared, and then he came to Vrindavan Dham, and he found out, searching where is Jiva Goswami, and eventually he was able to take shelter of Jiva Goswami's lotus feet. After introducing himself, he said to Jiva Goswami, Gurudev has committed me to your charge. His petition to your divine grace is, I am entrusting Dukhi Krishna Das to your care. Please fulfill his mind's desire and send him back to me after some time. We used to do that on the Bhakta program, Devotees would send their Bhaktas to the Bhakta program, and they wouldn't always go back to it. Sometimes they would. This is a special case. So, extremely happy to receive him. And Krishnadas began to serve Jiva Goswami. Now it's like it sounds a little simplistic, you could say. What service you want, some special service in charge of social media or something, entitled or study the literatures of the Goswamis. That was obviously one thing. That was the primary expectation, you could say. But, and he also associated with Srinivasa and Narottam. They were also there, another great devotee, studying under Jiva Goswami. He was Siksha Guru to many. And he actually asked, and then again you'll find slightly different, walled garden, you could say. But Radha Damodar area was in that area, that whole area around there was all part of the... So all around there he was sweeping the pathways, making it clear of stones and thorns, so that the devotees could go without pricking their feet and so on. And like that, he was ecstatic. So he was sweeping away. Every day he would do this service. He felt this was like the success of his life, to serve the devotees in this way. Think about it. The success of our life is if our service pleases the devotees. That's the real success. We may do their service materially expertly, but if it doesn't please the devotees, what's the value? There are many people doing things expertly in this world, relatively speaking. So that's okay. We should try to do it expertly, but the main thing is with the intention of pleasing Guru and devotees. So he was in that mood very much, always chanting the holy names. He would take the dust from the broom and shake it on his head. The dust for the devotees, you see. Good idea. When you broom the temple, we'll see tomorrow. Whoever's doing that will be shaking on it. A different situation, you know. It's not the same as today. You know, time is going to run out of what to do. Difficult to go fast on these sweet subject matters, huh? The dust of the Vaishnavas is my foodstuffs, their sustenance. So one day, while he was cleaning the kunj, his heart was filled with love. He was feeling ecstatic attraction to Radha and Krishna as he was sweeping the kunj, Seva Kunj, and especially in the era which was called Kanaka Kunj, part of that era called Kanaka Kunj. He was feeling extremely ecstatic. And suddenly, he noticed something very effulgent, something very, very effulgent, lying in the ground, near a bush somewhere. So effulgent. What is this? He went there. And there are again many different descriptions of this. But we'll keep it simple. He saw a very beautiful ankle bracelet. Like the ladies, they wear ankle bracelets, huh? This is extremely beautiful ankle bracelet. It was like nothing he'd ever seen before. He became ecstatic. His hair stood on end just by seeing it. He had an effulgence and like a spiritual energy like he's never experienced before. He took it out of the ground, touched it to his head. Now I can't say that the transformation took place there in terms of appearance, but that's not what we're going to say here. Touched it to his head and bound it in the corner of his upper cloth, you know. You don't probably have it. We roll our cloth up and you can put your money in here. Prabhu used to carry his money in here sometimes, wrap it in his dhoti. You've got to remember you've got it there when you take your dhoti off. So he wrapped it in the corner of his dhoti and continued. He said, I'll give it to whomever it belongs to. He kept it. But his mind was, whoever it belongs to, I will give it to them when they come looking for it. Surely they'll come here looking for it. So the next morning, on another plane, or another dimension you could say, the Sakis, that means the intimate associates of Radharani, her close associates, they were a little shocked. They looked at Radharani, she only had one anklet on. The left ankle was without the anklet. Left, not there. What happened? Missing. Radharani explained, oh, last night when I was dancing in the kunj, it must have fallen off. Please look for it and bring it back to me. So she sent them out looking for it, here and there. Again, there are different accounts give different names and different incidences here, but we'll stick with this one, it's very sweet. When the gopis came to search for the bracelet, Vishaka Devi noticed Krishnadas was sweeping the grove. She asked him, "Have you found an ankle bracelet?" Dukhi Krishnadas was so mesmerized by her sweet words. Now in other accounts you hear that she came, or Lilita came, whoever it is, in like an old lady form, different stories are there. That we will find in there. Anyway, we'll stick with this. He saw her radiant form and her sweet words. He was overwhelmed. It was just like a demigoddess had descended from heaven. Who is this effulgent, transcendental person? He was dumbfounded. And he couldn't speak. She asked him again, "Have you found the ankle bracelet here?" Dukhi Krishna made obeisances and humbly replied, "Yes, I found it. Who are you?" She said, "I am a coward girl. Where do you stay?" "In this village." "Is it your ankle bracelet?" "No, it isn't mine. It belongs to a new bride in our house." "How did it get here?" "She came here yesterday to pick flowers. It must have fallen off then." "All right. Please tell her. She can come and collect it from me." You may have heard a different story. And there are at least 3 different accounts. So be it. "No," she said, "you can give it to me." "No," Krishnadas said, "I want to give it to her personally." After a few moments, Vishaka Devi returned with Srimati Radha Thakurani, who stood in the shade at the foot of a large tree. Vishaka called out to Krishnadas, "Bhakta, the person who lost her ankle bracelet has come to retrieve it." Dukhi Krishnadas completely forgot himself, completely while gazing, even from a great distance, at the unparalleled, brilliant splendor of Sri Brishabhanu Nandini, another name of Radharani. In great joy, he handed the anklet bracelet to Vishaka. Of course, again, was to give it to Radharani. At this point, Dukhi Krishnadas could sense that something very profound was about to take place. His eyes filled with tears, and he fell down on the ground to offer his obeisances. In great ecstasy, he rolled in the dust. Vishaka then told him, "O best of the devotees, our Sakhi wants to give you a benediction to express her gratitude for, of course, recovering the anklet." Actually, she was so pleased with his devotion of sweeping the kunj. This is how we win the heart, like King Prataparuda won Lord Chaitanya's heart by sweeping the floor. So simple. Don't get too much recognition by sweeping the floor, but Krishna notices. That's what counts. Dukhi Krishna then saw the holy waters of Radha Kund before him. I thought we'd say this one because tonight Radha Kund is appearing here at New Mayapur. That's what we've heard anyway. Has Aristasura's appeared? Did he come already? He already dealt with it. He's not around, are we? That's good news. You sure the bull isn't? The bulls are not. Who's the bull? Who's the one still with us? What's his name? Deva? He's not on the run. He's not like. We got some new ones now. They're okay. They're under control. The bulls are under control. Oh yeah. Not getting excited out there in the fields. Did you bring them in to put their hoof down? After offering his obeisances, he immersed himself within the waters of Radha Kund. Thus he attained a transcendently beautiful feminine form. Coming out of the sacred Kund, he stood before Vishaka Devi and offered prayers. So Vishaki then approached Radha Thakurani with, now this new Saki, who fell down at the lotus feet of Radharani. She then decorated her, meaning his, from the material perspective, forehead with tilak, using the ankle bracelet and the kumkum of her lotus feet. Other descriptions don't describe that the same way, but that's a beautiful description. This tilak, she said, will remain on your forehead. From today you will be known as Shyamananda. Now you can go. After she said this, Radharani and her Sakis were no longer to be seen. Dukhi Krishnadas's trance broke, found himself alone again in a male body in Seva Kunj or Kanaka Kunj, standing there. Yet, the tilak was on his forehead. And said there's a little dot, Radharani or Vishaku, whoever did, tapped this anklet, the end of the anklet on his forehead, and a little red dot appeared in between the tilak marks. So he was overwhelmed, of course. What have I seen? What have I seen? What has happened? He was like stunned. So he offered prayers over and over again, and then he went to Jiva Goswami and explained what happened. Jiva Goswami told him, this is your great fortune. This indeed is a reality, but don't tell it to anyone else. No one. Just carry on, however, with the name Shyamananda from now on. Of course, this was not something that could be kept secret for long. You can't keep anything, even on that platform, without all the social media and the WhatsApps and the this app and that app. Still, maybe a little bit longer than now, it would be known within a few seconds on our platform probably. Even before it happened, someone would have already spread a rumor. But news came to Ambika Kalm that your disciple has a different name now since he joined Jiva Goswami. He's also changed his tilak. This was not very pleasing to Hridaya Chaitanya. What is this? I sent him there with full trust that Jiva Goswami would send him back after giving him sufficient directions. Now it appears that not only has he, changed his name, he's given him new tilak. What is going on here? He's reinitiated. This is reinitiation. He was thinking maybe he's done like that. Well, there are different stories about what happened next. And we'll kind of sort of summarize some bits in between. So, is this true? He called some of his senior disciples and some of the devotees together and said, this is completely unbecoming. If this is true, this is completely against our Vaishnava principles. So he asked some of them to go there to check it out. So they went there to see what's happened. I have to summarize it now. See what's happened. So they went to Vrindavan. Time takes time, they're walking. They didn't jump on a plane. It takes time. So months were probably passing by here. But they went to Vrindavan and they came and they met with Jiva Goswami, and he thought, how could Jiva Goswami do this? I had great respect for him, but I don't know, what? How could he behave like this? Jiva Goswami said, no. I said, no, I have not changed anything. This is all by the grace of his guru. A little puzzling, huh? All by the grace of his guru. And then he explained some of the story, not exactly, but kind of gave a story how Hridaya Chaitanya had appeared to him in a dream and had given him this name and tilak and everything. And You can ask him yourself. So they did, they asked him, and they said the same thing. So he thought, well, maybe it's true. So he gave him a letter. Jiva Goswami wrote a letter and sent back to Vidai Chaitanya. So they went back thinking, oh, sounds like this can be easily resolved. It's not as bad as we thought. So even they had problems in those days. Controversies, yeah. Some controversy was there. And they went back, and when Vidai looked at the letter, he said, what is this? I never gave any such direction to my disciple. What is this nonsense in a dream? I don't believe in these so-called dreams. He didn't take it very well. And he thought, this is too much, He's just trying to deceive us. Trying to pull the wool over our eyes, as we say in English. I will not accept this. This is against our line of devotion. So he gathered up many of his followers and other great devotees, mahants, powerful devotees, leading devotees of the air. And they all went off a big troop to Vrindavan to really get to the bottom of this. So, wow, this was heavy, heavy stuff. They all arrived there in Vrindavan. Let's just take it up from there. Oh, it doesn't really give much information here. This is obviously coming from another source. But eventually they arrived in Vrindavan and they saw Krishna. Immediately Krishnadas, Shyamananda now, came and offered his obeisances to his Guru Maharaj, falling at his lotus feet. He didn't hardly look at him. He was like, who are you? It's like he just didn't even recognize him hardly. He went to Jiva Goswami, what is going on here, this, that, the other. And they explained, well, and then Hridaya Chaitanya said, okay, Krishnadas, if what you say is actually true, I will prove it wrong. Or if it's true, I will give up my life. I will scrub that tilak off of your face, and you can put Shyamananda across your chest, and I will scrub that off as well. So it became a little hot. The situation got a little bit hot, He was quite, strong about it. So then the other mahants there, they gathered. He kind of, okay, well, just wait a minute. Let's just find out from Krishnadas. Is this indeed true? What you are saying, and you understand what your Guru is saying? He says, all by the grace of my Guru, Hridaya Chaitanya. So then they said, okay. He said, just give me a few moments. And then he went into a trance. He sat there in a trance. And it looked like he was no longer there in one sense. He was like he was gone. He on another plane. He entered into another plane of existence, to the spiritual realm. And he entered into the inner kunj, crying and crying and crying in his form of Kanaka Manjari. That's his eternal form. Because he was sweeping the grove, which was called Kanaka Kunj. So he was known as Kanaka Manjari. So he entered therein, and Vishaka Devi took him, saw him, and heard his story, or her story. She felt great compassion, took her to Radharani, who immediately showed her compassion. Please save me from this dreadful situation. My husband is so angry with me. She said it like that. So Radharani then said, I think we will call Subal. So they called Subal. Subal came there. Subal has this unique role of interacting between gopas and gopis. He's one of those rare cowherd boys who have this role. So he came, and as we heard earlier, who is he? Gauridas Pandit. He's the spiritual master of Hridaya Chaitanya. So he came there and said, don't worry, everything you say is correct. There's nothing wrong in what you've done. I will protect you. If there's any problem, just remember me, and I will protect you. And then he suddenly appeared back in Vrindavan, Gokul Vrindavan. At that point, he came back and he testified, yes, it is true. So Hridaya Chaitanya said, okay, let's see. And he started scrubbing away. And the tilak would disappear a little bit, then immediately reappear when he remembered Gauridas Pandit. Scrubbed again, came again. Scrubbed the name, came again, as he remembered Gauridas. Nothing could change it. Nothing. So then they all began to realize that this must be true. Even Hridaya Chaitanya eventually, Jai Gaunitai, Jai Krishna Balaram, Jai Radha Govinda Madhava. I'll just quickly finish this off, and I'll just leave a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, that's it, and we're finished. So it was obvious that this was not an ordinary event. So all the Mahants accepted this is a transcendental affair. And even Gauridas Pandit said, actually the purpose of the Sakya Ras is to enhance the Madhurya Ras. It's not like a competitor. It actually enhances the transcendental, blissful nature of Madhurya Ras. So our business is to serve Shyam. And you're Shyamananda, so you're giving so much pleasure. So Hridaya wasn't completely satisfied even then. He just couldn't relate to this ras. He couldn't relate to it. He still became somewhat angry with his disciple after a while, and it's sometimes said that he actually got so angry he started beating him and said, okay, you are what you are, I don't want to see you again, go somewhere else, follow someone else, but don't come near me. He didn't want to know about him. So Shyamananda was devastated. He still considered him his absolute guru. So that night it said that Hridaya Chaitanya had a dream. He didn't believe in dreams, but this night he had a dream. And none other than Lord Chaitanya appeared in his dream. And Lord Chaitanya's body was covered in blood. Especially his hands and feet, which he beat his hands, feet and back. His hands and feet and back were covered in blood. His top piece was stuck to his body with blood. My Lord, what has happened? Oh, my Lord, what has happened? You asking me what happened? You did this. You did this to me, he said. And he realized what happened. He says, Shyamananda is my second half. He's as good as me, practically. You have done this to me. He had the realization when he woke up in the morning that he was completely mistaken, and everything. He came before the devotees, before Jiva Goswami, said, actually, Shyamananda is not my disciple, I am his disciple. Moved like that. Very amazing experience, and of course everything was resolved, and he said, please stay here under Jiva Goswami, but please bless me and come back again to Ambika Kaun at some point in time, which he did at some point of time, after they left with Narottam and Shyamananda and Srinivas with all the Vaishnav literatures. They were stolen by King Bihambir, and Srinivas stayed behind to try to retrieve them, and Shyamananda and Narottam went on, and after a while Shyamananda also went to Ambika Kaun to be with his Guru Maharaj, who then sent him to Utkal again to preach, and he spent the rest of his life basically, he went back to Vrindavan, but basically the rest of his life he was preaching in Orissa. And he converted hundreds and thousands of devotees, made hundreds and thousands of disciples. His most prominent disciple was Rasik Murari or Rasikananda. Rasik Murari is the normal name, but other times you see Rasikananda. Both names are there. And then he also had many names, many disciples, Damodar, one amazing disciples, powerful disciples who made millions of disciples all over Orissa, basically speaking. And he left his body there preaching in Orissa, and he has a samadhi in the village, I can't remember, Nishingapur or something, the samadhi there, and he also has a samadhi in Vrindavan. And if you go to the Radha Shyamasundar temple, which were his worshipable deities, Radha Shyamsundar, and there you'll see just 50 meters, maybe 100, not even that maybe. Across the road is, you may not have been there, there's a little place to you would be in there, Gopaswami Prabhu, where the samadhi of Shyamananda Pandit Prabhu is there. Anyway, that's just a very brief summary of the last part. Hare Krishna. Srila Shyamananda Pandit Prabhu Ki Jai. And if you want to read different interpretations, different statements, or whatever, there are many places. It's all ecstatic. Whichever one you read, one thing I've noticed, it just increases your attraction and your let's say, they don't have like, they don't create doubts. I don't find there's any kind of like, negativity in it. It's just different angles of looking at a wonderful personality and the wonderful interactions and so on and so forth. Even with their guru, it seems to be rather unbecoming, very extraordinary, but it's all parts of the transcendental humor of love of God, that you're so much in love with Krishna in this way you can't tolerate anything, which interferes with that flow of love, It just doesn't fit, Can't bear it. We're not on that level, but I mean, that's how it is. And to a certain extent you may get that, you're doing something, cleaning this and that. Someone else has got a different idea, they do something else thinking that would be better. And you can get quite upset sometimes. In anything, management, cleaning, even in book distribution, you're just doing books and someone else comes along and starts to distribute books to talk to the person you're just talking to or something. It's like, you're so much into your service, so it's great sometimes that is there. This is on an extreme level of transcendence. Shri Shyamananda Pandit Prabhu Ki Jai, Go Premanandi, Hari Bol. Oh, maybe Rasikananda, you should lead the kirtan. What do you think? I think you should lead the kirtan. Having been rejuvenated with the bio raisin juice, have you got the time to enlighten us?